I think it's clear that this quarter did not display my full academic potential, but that will just make this overview that much more interesting, hopefully. Based on the first 3 assignments, it was not a strong start for me. I did come in strong for one assignment, and then I dropped off again for a while. I clearly had an erratic pattern of submitting my assignments, though those which I did submit show that I was capable of completing the work at a satisfactory level. It's clear that at literally the end of the quarter, I hit my stride. Seeing as I turned in several assignments the last day it was possible, including this one. As far as growth from the start of the term goes, I feel like there's several points that I can say that I improved on, for sure. The first would be my hands. In the first video on Zoom with most of my classmates, I remember I did not take advantage of them very much, but by the end of the quarter, however, I am proud to say that I have improved very much on this. Another thing that deserves recognition that might not be as noticeable would be my nerves before each speech. Before the introduction speech in the Zoom meeting, I remember I had sweaty palms, I had to remind myself to breathe, I had to try to talk myself down in the moments beforehand. And I have since gotten better about not being so nervous, though part of that is due to the fact that I know that if I mess up, I can just start over and try again. I feel like this is part of the reason that I started to use my hands more as well. I was more relaxed. I think it's also obvious that even now, I'm generally calm and I'm talking at a reasonable pace. I am using my body to communicate as well as my words. One of the last areas of improvement that I want to brush over is my use of filler words. I remember when I gave my first speech over Zoom again, I was overly dependent on my notes. So if I didn't read the next bullet in time, or if I read the words too fast, I would stumble and have to regain momentum, oftentimes using filler words to try to avoid awkward little moments of silence. And since then, I've been much better about being confident with my material, therefore creating a lesser need for the filler words. Another part of this is that I don't rely so heavily on note cards anymore. You may not have noticed just by watching my speeches, but in the beginning of the quarter, it was extremely difficult for me to slow down the rate at which I was talking. I have always been a speedy talker, and I have many memories of me telling a long story just for my listener to say, I didn't understand any of that. Well, I often speed up the rate at which I talk when, like an excessive amount, when I'm excited about something, as well as when I'm nervous. So even during these presentations where I seem to be doing an adequate job, I was really fighting the urge to speed up and get it all out, just as fast as I could. I can tell that I'm better at it now because it comes a lot easier now than it did at the beginning of the quarter. I am no longer stopping every 2 minutes while I'm recording because I realize that I'm moving too fast throughout my speech. One thing I think that I started off well with generally was the organization of my speeches. I am generally good at writing papers and organizing information in a way that makes sense and is easy to follow. I also think that I'm a generally well-spoken person when it comes down to it. Throughout the course, though, I have learned a lot about public speaking, as well as myself, and I hope to apply this to the courses that I take in the future, whether it be that I remember what I learned when I'm giving presentations, or understanding that I'm better off to start the term strong than to play catch-up at the very end. Overall, I would say my behavior was not outstanding, and my commitment was nothing to brag about either. But as far as the work that was displayed, I do think I did an adequate job of improving, and that was shown, as well as satisfactory understanding of the material.